So Discord rolled out the new UI update and everyone quite literally lost their mind. So I just wanted to jump in and to the conversation because I was seeing a lot of people having a lot of issues, but the issues that were there seemed like just lack of education and awareness about how design processes work, as well as some, pros and other people just spreading things that I would kind of categorize as misinformation or lack of understandings. So I just wanted to come in and give you just 2 cents about how I look at what is happening. Because there is a lot of valid criticism to be had, which I'll share with you. But I think that is being covered up with the most randomest, unnecessary critique of what's happening with Discord right now. So I think let's get started. It's going to be a more lecture session, so let's put on our glasses and get into professor mode. Yeah. Let me adjust this for you guys. Okay. I think you should be able to see my screen right now. This is Discord. It's actually Discord. It's Discord. But yeah, you can see. But don't like it. Don't like the new update too much. There has been a lot of jabs on how they get to, you know, uh, being like so early in the game with their dark mode, but they were so behind introducing an actual dark mode, which I think they still quite haven't done. You'll be seeing that I'm showcasing Discord to you in the browser mode and not the desktop app mode, because that is one of the very valid criticisms that it just doesn't work at this point. I'll show you this Reddit post. I think I'm switching between a lot of things, but um, it's just so power intensive at this point. I don't know what's happening. Maybe someone needs to look into it, but it never worked for me. I started using it in back in like 2017, 2018. The app never really worked for me, so and I don't really use it because it's just so power intensive. So yeah, I'll be showing it to you on the browser only. So I think there are a couple of things that I think we need to get out of the way first before we get into anything. Um, that is, firstly, any decision after a point in a company is a business decision, whether it be redesign, some fixing some code, anything takes small bit to big bit, everything is a business decision. Why? Because it purely costs money to do anything. Even if these are your full-time employees that you have for your design, your development, your anything, any amount of time that you're using of them costs you money. And where you utilize that time um, is basically where you're investing that money that you have from your investors, from your users, from whatever sources of income you have. So no decision is made overnight unless you are a specific kind of company like X or any other company that have like these figures in position of power. I don't want to get into that right now. Secondly, design doesn't happen overnight, no matter what you want to think, because a lot of the criticism was, why fix something that is not broken? Why did these designers wake up and decide to just change everything about it? That is not how it happens, because these big companies have so many processes that you have to go through. This is where the jokes come from, right? Like, changing the color of a button takes months, because that is how it actually is. It's not even like a joke. I have worked on big projects that took months. Namely, one of the projects that is live right now, and I'm very happy. Like, I did not finish it, but I did start it. So it's called Miss Bliss. I made the whole design system for it, and I laid down the initial everything for the platform. So when I was working on that, every single decision, even though I was the sole designer on it, every single decision took a lot of time, because it wasn't just me, it was the PMs, it was the devs, it was the founder, it was everyone chipping in to what they're saying, and that was still a small team. Imagine a team like 10x that. So it takes a lot of time. And it's based on a lot of data. These companies have so much data. Every single interaction that you're doing is getting stored as a data point somewhere out there. You don't know, we don't know, and there are privacy concerns and whatnot, which these companies try to mitigate. every single thing you do on their app is getting stored as a data point somewhere. So they are not just waking up one day and deciding that I do not actually like the UI, I want to change it in very many ways. That being said, um, uh, I think there are still some valid criticism when it comes to the UI design, namely like how the accessibility wasn't kept in mind, which fairly agreed, and not having the support for older models and stuff like that. Like as you keep building your app, be catered towards the newer user base. You may be leaving some people behind that have been with you from the beginning. So those kind of criticisms are valid. But other than that, I'll just show you this one post. I posted about it on Blue Sky, which by the way, feel free to follow me on Blue Sky. I posted about it there, and someone responded to me talking about how like I just wanted a very quick list of issues that people had with the Discord's new UI update. So I think, yeah, I asked some people, and this is the response I got. I couldn't find this specific Reddit post, but this is what they said. The server icons are just too small now. The title bar doesn't make sense. The typing indicator is blurry, which I don't know. I am not quite sure about that. And the chat box not being visually aligned with the user connection box. Now, I have theories because all of this seems so random that it only would make sense in the context that this is like an in between ship that they are working towards something big, but they are not quite there yet. So they wanted to roll some pieces of it out before they could get into the whole overhaul of what they're going for. So, there were talks about this new UI update for a while, and this is kind of how it looked. What we got is not quite how it looks here, and I'll show you the differences later. Like, see how the chat box has this, uh, you know, this thing down here, which it doesn't have here, and how it's aligned with the user bar, which it isn't here. And it's crazy that it isn't, because there is no reason for it not to, unless there is, and we just don't know about it. So it's not quite what we were expecting, but also it was in the works, and we know it's been in the works for a while. So let's talk about some theories now. One of the main updates that we had here, also just don't send me follow requests. I'm not going to accept it. I'm probably not even going to receive it. But just to show you guys, I'll go to appearances. Is here. So now they have here these phones. This is like the classic Discord, how it look like. This is the light mode. Sorry to flashbang you right here. This is the dark mode, and this is the Onyx mode. Now you can allow it to sync with your computer, which whatever, if you have Nitro, you can have more themes. You can also change the UI density. So as you saw, if you want, you can have the default spacing. If you want it for other users, you can have it compact, or you can have it spacious, like it will take more space. Then we have specific options. Ooh, yeah. Then we have specific options for messaging. We can keep it compact, we can make it default, we can like make the messages specific size. I'm not going to change mine because it's just annoying. And scaling, so you can change scaling according to what you want, and there are other uh, settings also. And then there is also a section specifically for uh, accessibility settings, right? So you can change saturations, you can uh, change modes and stuff like that. Now, I cannot comment of any of these because I don't have any specific accessibility issues that these are catering towards. So I'm like so fine with hearing everyone out, like everyone who has an issue with any of these settings. I think you should make it known and make it heard, because accessibility only works if it is accessible for everyone. Like if you build for everyone, then only it's like accessible. So now, onto the specific issues that they were mentioning. This is nasty. This is quite literally the nastiest thing that I've ever seen. This not being aligned. And the only reason why it's not aligned is because they wanted to keep this typing bar below the text bar, which makes no sense to me because it used to be above this. I think on phone it's still above this. Can I say this phone mode from here? I don't think I'd be able to. I'm just gonna try still. Let's see. Okay. Okay, no, it's below the chat only, so that was useless. But yeah, the only reason why they wanted to do that is because they wanted to keep the typing thing low, the text bar, which makes no sense. And also, they couldn't bring this up for reasons. And none of that makes any sense to me. I think there has to be some technical, um, what do you call it, technical stuff that was keeping them from doing that because there is no reason for you to not bring this up. If fairy criticism seemed very random, maybe they're planning something for it in the future. Who knows? But now let's go get on to the other two issues. This being right here, and then this overlapping with the server part. This indicates to me that they may just want to get rid of the um, server list from here because there is no other reason for you to overlap this with this, but not somehow figure out a way to make it look cleaner. Like this just makes sense to be here. So the concept is this is universal. Your information between any of these servers or between any of these channels would be the same, regardless of what. But this is gonna change. This is gonna change. Everything else is gonna change. So I understand the idea. What I do not understand is how and why the UI looks so clumsy, right? So the only way it would make sense is if they in future they want to get rid of this somehow. I don't know why they would do that. I don't know how it would work if they do that. But I think could be it because right now one of the other criticisms is why do we need the name here when we already have the name here? Which is such a silly thing to do. As a designer, I think it could only happen if you genuinely remember that you already have this thing. So the only way it makes sense is if they want to remove it from here and add all of these options to here, because otherwise there is no other reason for it to be here other than to just be, this is the name of the server. And then you can go to your inbox and fit. Right? Like it literally makes no sense. So it would make more sense to me if they want to bring up some of these options out here on the top instead of on the side. That is one theory here. Other thing is, um, well, there is not a lot of other things that I can confidently talk about because a lot of it is accessibility wise. To me, the server icons kind of look fine because folder was something we've been asking for so long, and then they gave it to us and it was fine. But now apparently the folders, like the server icons, are too small. Again, not to me, but if people think so, it's like that is how they use it. But the issue here is, and I think YouTube's current CEO or like a previous CEO said it very, aptly that sometimes when you're solving, when a very small percentage of your user base is having an issue, you may think it's not that big of an issue. But if you have a big user base like YouTube does or like Discord does, that 5% of user base could be hundreds and thousands of regular users, like regular daily users. So you cannot go ahead and ignore those issues. Um, so we might not understand why those changes were made, um, why they needed to put the server name up there. But if it's not for you, it doesn't mean it's not for anyone. That is another part of accessibility. If it's not for you, ignore it unless it's actively hindering you. So, for example, if um, game modes started specifically coming in colors, only for like people who are colorblind, right? It wouldn't help me as someone who isn't colorblind, and if they didn't have the option, it would stop being accessible anymore, right? So there needs to be options. There needs to be options to accessibility, and the ability to customize things. um it's actually called adaptive accessibility. If some a product can adapt to your specific needs. So what I'm hoping here is this is some in between ship of the product, and they are working towards something, which is why it looks like this a certain way, and it looks so different from what they wanted it to look like in the beginning, like the teaser that we saw, just because there is something bigger coming. And that is my designer take, like a very lukewarm take on you Discord's new. It's not the end of the world, just to get it out. It's not the end of the world. The world isn't ending. And it has made the app less usable for a lot of people. Uh, so I hope they take that into consideration. But some of the criticism is just not that big of a deal. So yeah, I hope that clarified anything. And maybe it was just a waste of your and mine time, which then I'm sorry. And yeah, whatever.